people, happy Friday, and welcome to episode 7 of the VolsCast, where touchdowns, threes, and homers are on the mic. Now, let's get into Week 3's reaction, what I thought about Tennessee's beatdown against Kent State University. Tennessee's dominant performance against Kent State is drawing attention after dropping 65 points in the first half. Now, if y'all didn't know, after the first half, Kent State requested, say, please, can we have shorter halves? We want to score, not let it be a shutout. And we said no. Actually, no, I got that wrong. Yeah, I got the story wrong. Kent State wanted to have longer quarters. Yeah, that was right. They wanted to have longer quarters to score, but eventually they did not score. Now, something else I wanted to mention. There's probably a very specific play that y'all remember from the game. Nico threw a dot to Chris Braswell, what is immaculate. The throw looks like Tennessee's capable of making a national championship. Not just because of a specific throw, but Nico, he's so accurate. Joe Milton could not do that last year. That's why you can call Josh Heupel the quarterback whisperer, which we'll get more into Josh Heupel since Tennessee's playing Oklahoma this weekend. In a later segment. Also, not just offense is the reason why Vols are the talk of the town. The Big Orange defense is number one in defensive efficiency in the FBS. Put aside all the big names like James Pierce, Amari Thomas, all those guys. With a defense that consists all these guys in an explosive offense, Oklahoma's next fury won't be an E5 tornado. It'll be Tennessee's offense and defense. Now to get into the AP poll that came out Sunday. Now if y'all don't know, AP comes out every Sunday. This was the notable changes. Texas is the new number 1 after beating UTSA. And also in that game, Quinn Ewers got hurt with a strained abdomen. I think it was abdomen, somewhere in there. In that area, Arch Manning shined and rushed for the largest Texas quarterback touchdown since Vince Young. Georgia slides down to 2 after struggles with Kentucky. Now, I think Georgia got a little exposed in that game. I don't think they're as good as people thought that they would be. Obviously, people thinking that, they're number 1, Georgia and all that. But Texas, being a newbie in the SEC, might be underestimated. Also, I did mention that they did lose 2 of their running backs prior to the start of the season. Tennessee jumps up a spot to number 6, jumping Missouri after Missouri beat Boston College. Not a very impressive win. Yeah, they beat Florida State, but Florida State stinks. Texas A&M moves back into the rankings somehow after beating 2 very terrible teams, McNeese and Florida. I don't know how that happened, but anyway, Texas A&M is 25. Now for the week 4 preview.
That confidence and enthusiasm those young guys have just sort of drips all over everybody, and it dripped all over this team.
It says, be respectful of your opponent and be humble. Say we and not I, and it's a team thing, and it really is. The way they play, it's a team thing.
The champions of the 67th FedEx Orange Bowl are the still undefeated and now finally respected Sooners of Oklahoma. Championship number 7. Dominant in the 50s, the mid-70s, and another in the mid-80s, and now and one for the ages here in 2001. Bob Stoops reigniting the flame of Sooner magic in just 2 seasons. A quarterback who came from South Dakota to South Beach. What a story.
Josh Heupel's history with Oklahoma. A decade ago, after a 40-6 loss with Clemson in the Russell Athletic Bowl, Oklahoma Oklahoma coach Bob Stoops called longtime assistant Cale Gundy. Stoops asked Gundy if he could meet with him at Bison Witches in downtown Norman. There, Stoops told Gundy that he was going to fire his offensive coordinator, Josh Heupel. Heupel was, and remains, Oklahoma royalty. In 2000, he quarterbacked the Sooners to their 7th national title. Oklahoma has not won a title since. Heupel later proved to be a valuable assistant during the Sooners' prolific run through the 2000s. He mentored Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks Jason White and Sam Bradford. In 2011, Heupel became offensive coordinator and taken over the next 4 seasons. OU averaged 475 yards per game, 10th best in college football during that span. Does that sound familiar? I mean, I know Tennessee probably has a better offensive efficiency than they do, but sound familiar? But in 2014, Stoops realized that his Sooners needed a spark, and so shortly after the meeting, Stoops fired Heupel after calling it the worst day in his 18 years as OU's coach. Saturday, for the first time ever, being the first fire since being fired, Heupel will return to Norman as a Sooners, where he became a Sooners legend in his 4th season as Tennessee's coach. Heupel brings the 6th ranked surging Volunteers to Norman as OU's long anticipating first conference game as a member of the SEC. Heupel has downplayed the significance of the reunion. He has also avoided opening up about the firing. Heupel said Monday that he was tremendously grateful for the opportunity OU gave him both as a quarterback and as a coach. Stoops hired air raid guru Mike Leach. May he rest in peace. Let's all have a moment of silence for Mike Leach. Immediately, Leach went searching for a quarterback. He immediately targeted an unknown left-handed junior quarterback from Snow College in Utah. Heupel did not have the rocket arm coveted by NFL scouts or other blue blood college programs. He could not run much either, but Heupel could put the ball on the money. And as a coach's son, he knew where to go with it too. That first year, Heupel spent much of his free time with Leach mastering the air raid offense. This is an offensive scheme designed to spread the field and attack the defense with quick passes. Heupel came back to OU in 2004 as a graduate assistant working with White and other quarterbacks. I remember thinking to myself then, that dude's going to be a great coach, White said, just because of how he handled me. 3 years later, Stoops retired and Oklahoma named offensive coordinator Lincoln Riley its head coach. Instead, under Riley, OU advances to the playoff in 3 consecutive years, with their quarterbacks being Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts. Heupel's potential as a head coach is finally being realized at Tennessee. A decade after being fired at Oklahoma, Heupel has reemerged as one of the hottest teams in college football. The Vols have won the first 3 games by an average margin of 59 points. Stats and predictions for this week's game. I predict that Nico's going to throw for probably about 3 touchdowns. Sampson's probably going to rush for another 3 maybe. And defense is going to break for 8 tackles for losses, 4 sacks, and an interception. And with Tennessee being a current favorite of a 7.5 favorite, I know that I said 3 touchdowns for Nico and 3 touchdowns for Sampson, but I predict that the score will be 46-32. The game will be a shutout, no doubt. Now, Oklahoma's offensive line. I watched the Tulane game. Yes, they were missing some guys. I think they have over 10 guys that are hurt right now, and some of them are predicted to come back this week. Their offensive line against Tulane did not look really good. Jackson Arnold being a quarterback that can run the ball and also throw the ball, but I think, me personally, I don't know if you call this a biased opinion or not, Nico is better. He is faster. Yes, he's younger. Jackson Arnold, I don't know how long he's been there at Oklahoma. I think he's been there a while. But Nico I think he's better. I haven't watched many of the Oklahoma games, but we'll just see how everything unfolds. Also, tune in 8 a.m. on ESPN. College Game Day heads to Norman. College Game Day heads to Norman, guys. We got Pat McAfee, Nick Saban, Desmond Howard, Kirk Herbstreit, Reese Davis. See if there's anybody that I'm missing. Yeah, I got them all. Oh, if you want to mention Sanford Steve and David Pollitt, you got all those extra guys. I can't forget the lady's name on there. I don't know. And if you're going to watch this game, the game's going to be aired at, I think, it's around 7, 6-ish, around that time frame on ABC. Or if you want, you have the option to watch it on ESPN Plus if you want to. This is Gavin Robinson signing off for another episode of the VolsCast. Y'all have a great weekend. Go Vols.